This time, South Africa's industrial users of gas energy have raised concerns that we may soon not have enough. This, of course, as Sasol suspends supplies to industry in the next 2 years. Again, government was told about this some years ago, so have they done enough to prevent yet another crisis? Busisiwe Mavuso is the CEO of Business Leadership South Africa, and she joins us now on the line. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. I'm afraid we don't always talk about good news. How worried should we be about what now seems a certain looming gas crisis?
Bongani, good morning. We should be very worried. Bongani, the direct impact of this is that several key manufacturers are going to be affected. 70,000 job sites stake, about 500 billion rands that is contributed by these manufacturers to the economy a year is now at risk. The suppliers who are deeply reliant on gas energy for their continued operations are going to be affected. An interruption in supply is really going to mean that there might be multiple plant closures and a significant reduction in manufacturing output. In KZN, in Gauteng, in Mpumalanga, there's about 400 SMMEs that are going to be impacted. Hospitals will be impacted. About 8,000 households will be directly impacted. And that is just the direct impact. The indirect impact is that a lot of companies, because of this gas supply shortage that is going to be coming on, are already suspending their capex decisions and their investment decisions, and growth plans are being halted by a number of industries, as a result of this gas shortage. So it's really going to make a bad situation worse, Bongani. So we should be very worried.
Let me just come in there. I mean, it just sounds so ghastly as you've just outlined. I mean, just take one job and the number of mouths and income feeds, right? So that 70,000 potential job losses translates into what, possibly even 500,000 people who are going to go without if those jobs are lost. That kind of thing, along with 500 billion you're talking about. I mean, those are extraordinary sums. You would think government is aware of this and that the decision makers would do everything they can to prevent that kind of scenario from unfolding.
And government is aware of it, because to your point, as you speak to as you have said, the Industrial Gas Users Associations are saying since 2019, unsuccessfully, we've been engaging government on the solutions that are required. And government has not been responsive. They are talking about how they have tried to make sure that the gas infrastructure that needs to be put in place, is put in place, and government has not been responsive. Because natural gas infrastructure is similar to network industries, Bongani, in that it's not feasible for industry to single-handedly invest and develop national-scale private networks where government fails. So it takes massive investment to develop new sources of gas and infrastructure, and therefore, government needs to come to the party. There needs to be policies that need to be put in place. Government has not come to the party in as far as that is concerned, and we are now going to sit in this terrible situation. So we therefore have to work alongside government as the business sector to say, how do we make sure that this day zero that is going to come in June 2026 doesn't actually come? And the next 4 months is really going to be critical, because to develop required gas infrastructure so that we can substitute the shortfall that we know is coming in June 2026 is going to take some time. So if nothing happens, if no swift action happens by business and government working alongside it, or government rather and business working alongside it in the next 4 months, then our problems are just going to be worse as a country in the next 2 years.
Boy, if I had a dime for every time a politician says, mistakes were made, whether it's about electricity or any number of other issues we have to contend with, logistics for one, how do we prevent that? What needs to be done now? Who needs to get together with whom, in what room, and what decisions must be taken to prevent us from getting there?
That's a very good question. So there's a number of things that can be done. So I guess in line with existing policies, government needs to urgently establish sufficient gas-to-power capacity. They've got an existing JV at the moment between the Mozambique government and the South African government. This JV was set up for the transportation of natural gas from Mozambique to markets in both Mozambique and South Africa for the economic benefit of the region. So we need to start exploring how those existing relationships and platforms can be best utilized in these circumstances. Number two, we can look at how Eskom, as part of its short-term power purchase program, can increase power availability to procure additional electricity from planned gas-to-power developments in Mozambique, so that we can render gas receiving infrastructure investment economically feasible. Government also, as another option, needs to ensure that the pipelines are linked before 2026 to provide gas energy security for KZN in particular, because this is going to hit mainly KZN, Mpumalanga, and Gauteng. And I guess the last one is government needs to start looking at how they can provide financial guarantees to underwrite the total investment in gas receiving infrastructure in Mozambique to ensure that the economic sustainability of the South African manufacturing sector continues. Because I think even if a company wants to take this on, it's difficult to take such a huge investment on without a guarantee that there is going to be sufficient demand for the gas that you're going to bring into the country. So you're not going to take, I know Total Energies is looking at setting something up, through the Cape Coast fields and pipelines, but then there isn't enough uptake that will actually warrant them to make that investment decision.
Yeah.
So government therefore needs to see if they can't provide financial guarantees in as far as this one is concerned.
And I'd imagine that pipeline will take time to come on stream, even if that's the way we decided to go.
Exactly. That Total Energies pipeline that we've been talking about for a while as well will at least come on stream in 2030. So we will still have a 4-year gap and a 4-year shortage in gas. So interim solutions are probably the issues that I've spoken about, especially the JV that already exists, Bongani, with the Mozambique government.
It's not too late. Let's hope the grown-ups are listening. Appreciate your time as always. Busisiwe Mavuso is the CEO of Business Leadership South Africa.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions,
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.